So when I first heard about Audiomovers, Michael Andreas called me, and Michael is our film score teacher here at Duquesne University. He lives in Hollywood, scores films, and works for Warner Brothers. And he said, hey, give this a try. I want to give this a try because it'll enable my students to listen to my files and I can listen to their files and it sounds great. So I checked it out. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then our good friend John Crivet said, why don't you do a project and come up to Abbey Roads and discuss the project. And the first thing I was doing was working with a composer, and when I didn't understand the score or didn't know what it was he wanted, I would drop him a link and he'd listen in and I'd play, hey, do you want it this way? Do you want it that way? And so it was a good way for us to collaborate while doing these sessions. And then I could play him back the finished product. But as I was toying with it, I thought, what should I do, for this presentation? I thought of the days whenever my good friend Jeff Bergman, who's Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Star-Kissed Tuna, Charlie the Tuna. We used to do a lot of sessions for Family Guy and also for Visa MasterCard and whatnot, doing voices using the old school ISDN. And I said, maybe what we could do is redo an ISDN type of session using Listento. So I asked Michael to provide a scene from one of his Warner Brother projects, and he gave us the historic question of whether it's duck season or rabbit season that Elmer Fudd is trying to figure out. And so we used that foundation. I got the students from Duquesne to play the score. We had the orchestra here in our studio, and then Jeff and Michael were in his studio in North Hollywood. And Jeff did Elmer, did Bugs Bunny, and also Daffy Duck. Now, obviously, the track that we were mimicking was done as a synthestration with some doublings. And then in post, the timing and everything was done. So Jeff really never ever heard when he did those sessions. He just did a wild lines of Elmer, wild lines of Bugs, wild lines of Daffy, and then it got assembled in post. This, though, I wanted to do it like an old school radio show, or the way that it would have been done on a sound stage with the orchestra there and Mel Blanc in the booth and so on and so forth. So that's how we did it. We had the orchestra here in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University, all mic'd up and ready to go. We listened to and sent that to Michael Andreas' studio so that Jeff could hear that in the headphones. At which point we piped it back from Jeff's voice, back from Michael's studio, back to us, and brought that up in our studio, put a time delay on our monitor tracks, about 710 milliseconds, 715 milliseconds, and away we went. And once we were set up, it was totally seamless. The technology never got in the way. It was smoother than ISDN because with ISDN, you'd invariably have dropouts from your bridge or something like that, and you'd have to tell the person on the other end who's recording remotely, can you FTP me that file? And an FTP at those days took forever to upload and download. So with this, it was seamless. And though I had Michael recording in LA, there was no reason for me to use his tracks because everything came through our system perfectly seamlessly, sounded great. Everybody worked together. The timing was perfect. Everyone was able to work. And then, granted, there's a half a second delay going to LA. And so Jeff was, waiting about a half a second. So the phrasing was a little loose. All the elements are there. All I have to do is tighten it up in post for the timing that he wants, and we're done.